My little sister is adorable, you know. Actually, if you know that, you're dead. I had a dream. In the dream, my sister was the first love of a punk male lead. At the age when love first began to bloom, she fell for him, ignoring all our objections. She said, "Bro, you guys just don't understand him." My sister and the male lead made a pact to jump into the river together. My sister slept forever. The male lead climbed back out, had a sudden awakening, turned his life around, and somehow ended up doing pretty well. When I woke up, I was drenched in cold sweat. Falling for a punk. Little sister, you won't have to meet your destined punk anymore, because your brother is going to become the biggest punk within a 100-mile radius. Chapter 1. I once read a horror comic where a person would live through clear, conscious stretches of time in their dreams, seconds, minutes, days, even decades. I never thought something like that would happen to me. Back in 9th grade, I was grinding through math worksheets until 1:30 in the morning. The next thing I knew, I had dozed off on my desk. In that dream, I lived through the entire second half of my life, and I am not exaggerating. I was the kind of boy next door type who often appears in teen school novels. At least, that was how I came across. In the dream, I studied step by step, got into a good high school, then a good university, and eventually landed a decent job. Meanwhile, my younger sister fell in love with a punk boy, and above that punk's head, in big glowing letters, was the label, male lead. A label appeared above my sister's head too, lover who dies young. What the hell was that supposed to mean? My sister sat on the back of his cheap neon-lit motorcycle, hugging the punk's waist tightly. Her long black hair whipped wildly in the wind, and she could barely keep her eyes open. By the seaside, the punk won my sister's heart with a circle of cheap heart-shaped candles. "Alicia, I like you." My sister covered her mouth, tears glittering in her eyes. She skipped meals and saved all the money for the punk to buy cigarettes. While she herself grew skinny as a stick, she went with the punk to get tattoos, and some meaningless edgy alien-style lettering appeared on her collarbone. She skipped class to play games and only made a couple bond with the male lead. She secretly deleted me and our dad from her contacts, leaving the male lead as the only man on her WhatsApp. When I found out, I tore them apart without mercy. What do you even know? You don't understand love at all. If he has $5, he'll spend $4 on me, but all you ever do is look down on me and despise everything I like. By then, I was already a worn-out corporate slave. I clutched my hair in agony, completely unable to understand such youthful logic, and asked a question from the depths of my soul. Then why are you with someone who only has $5 in the first place? Because love. She lifted her chin like a stubborn white swan. Yes, because love. Unless I die, you two are never getting together. Now go back to school and study. My sister wailed. I don't want to study, but I never expected that. Under pressure, she would choose the most irreversible path. My sister died forever, while the true culprit survived. Not only that, after the male lead made something of himself, he decided that my parents and I were the reason his love story had ended in tragedy. So he took revenge like a madman. Not a single person in our family met a good end. After waking up from the dream, I was still shaken. My sixth sense told me that it was what had happened in my previous life. We were actually living inside a novel. But at that moment, my anger toward punks completely overwhelmed my fear of discovering the truth of the world. So she falls for a punk. Alicia, you won't need to meet your destined punk anymore, because your big brother is about to become the biggest punk for miles around. I tore up my math worksheets and took a day off school. As the first light of morning appeared, I walked into a barber shop. The hairstylist flicked his head, sweeping his left bangs into right bangs, then raised his scissors and comb. "Handsome, what kind of haircut do you want? Shave the sides short and carve words into them. Dye the middle green." No, wait, this side should. 7 or 8 hours later, I walked out of the barber shop, changed out of my school uniform, and put on a black t-shirt covered in flashy lettering, ripped skinny jeans, and a pair of knee-high studded boots. The outfit fully displayed the freshness of summer and the lazy vibe of winter. Unfortunately, it was autumn, so no one understood my taste. A whole row of ear piercings was a must. Holy crap, that hurt. I got one earlobe pierced and immediately called it quits. Then I went to a stationery store, bought fake studs, and stuck them on one by one. Still felt like something was missing. "Boss, what's the ugliest temporary tattoo you have here?" Chapter 2. 10 minutes later, my arm had gained a black and white inkwash alien. Riding my brand new motorcycle past an intersection, I doubled back and whistled at a little kid. "Hey, kiddo, why are you all by yourself?" He backed away 2 steps in fear and shook his head. "Relax, I'm a good guy." For a moment, I had not gotten used to my new look yet. I still thought I looked like the friendly big brother next door. So I forced out a smile and said, "Where do you live? I'll take you home." His clothes were dusty, his hair was a mess, and even his shoelaces had come undone without being tied back up. Come on, come on. I picked him up and placed him in front of me. From the card hanging around his neck, I learned where he lived. Then I hit the gas and rode straight there. When I knocked on the door, the live-in nanny clutched her chest, startled by the sight of me. What in the world is this thing? I rubbed my nose. Oops. I had been so busy doing a good deed that I almost forgot I looked like a punk now. The kid rushed over, hugged the nanny's leg, and said, "Auntie, Mom forgot to pick me up. This big brother brought me home." "Then why didn't your teacher call your mom?" He shook his head and said, "If the teacher called Mom, I was scared Mom would get angry." I nodded. "All right, now that you're home, I'll be going. Bye." "Big brother, my name is Martin." That name sounded kinda familiar. I waved goodbye to him. The moment I turned around, I remembered. He was the second male lead in my dream, the one with the word villain floating above his head. The nanny's emotional sigh drifted over. What a good soul in such a scary package. My heart took a direct hit. My sister was almost out of school. I crouched by the school gate, with me as the center. No one dared come within 10 meters. The security guard at the gate gripped his baton tightly, ready to rush up and take me down at any moment. I did not care. As a punk, I had to get used to people staring. My sister came out. She carried a pink school bag, wore a bow hair clip, and looked at me adorably. "Mister, you look kinda familiar." I flipped my hair to the other side, revealing the carved word love on my shaved side, then let out a villainous cackle. "Alicia, you don't even recognize your own brother anymore?" Her eyes widened. "Brother? That's right. Does your brother look cool like this?" "Not cool." She shook her head. Heh, what was that supposed to mean? Was she saying her brother was not as cool as the male lead? "Alicia, you truly have the worst taste in the entire world." I was kidding. "Brother, you look so cool like this." She giggled and circled around me. I let out a cold snort. Heh, what was that supposed to mean? Even a top-tier handsome guy like me would get called crazy for dressing like this. Yet she actually thought it looked good. As expected, Alicia had the worst sense of style in the entire world. "It's just that this black thing is a little scary." She pointed at the twisted-faced alien on my arm. Chapter 3. When we got home, my parents clearly did not understand my new look, but they chose to respect it. They thought I had entered my rebellious phase. My sister sat by the coffee table, holding a pen and pressing down on her open homework. I sat down beside her with one leg crossed over the other, snatched away her workbook, and said, "What even is this stuff? Come play games with me." I tossed the workbook aside and shoved my phone into her hands. "Is this game fun?" "Fun, absolutely fun. Your brother here will hard carry you." "All right. Brother, what are all these things? Which one do I play?" "You play jungle, I'll play support." I picked a clown Shaco for her. She frowned. But this one is so ugly." "Yours looks better. The one your brother is playing is too hard. You don't know how to use it." "Brother, is this game really hard?" "It's fine, just play however you want." 10 minutes later, I snapped. "Hey, do you even know how to protect me? When I'm taking red buff, you're supposed to go give vision. Hurry up, can't you see the enemy is hitting me? Save me, save me. Why are you just watching me die? Come on, you got me killed. Why did you bring the enemy over here?" Even our teammates started typing. Damn, is this jungler an elementary school kid? Is 0 to 20 even a score a human can get? My sister sobbed and said, I am an elementary school kid." After the match ended, she handed the phone back to me and waved her hands again and again. "Brother, you're so scary. I don't want to play anymore." "Oh, come on. I definitely won't scold you this time. Come on, come on. Next round." This time, I picked a pretty character for her. As expected, our teammates started spamming question marks again. 10 minutes later, we were in a last-ditch defense of our nexus. My sister wiped her tears with her palm, her fingers tapping desperately on the screen. Why can't I beat them? 15 minutes later, we surrendered again. I shouted, "Ugh, you made me lose again." My sister shrank to the side. Then, as if my conscience had suddenly awakened, I comforted her. "It's because you haven't played enough. It's fine. Your brother will play games with you. Come on, keep going. I'm not playing anymore. I want to do my homework." She cried while clutching her pen, trying to pick up her workbook. "What homework?" I kicked her homework over to the side of the trash can. My sister burst into loud sobs. My mom strode over with a rolling pin in hand. She wanted to hit me, but held herself back. "George, are you insane?" I grabbed my sister's hand and tried to stuff the phone into it, while she desperately hid in my mom's arms. "I don't want to play games. I want to do homework. I want to do homework." "No, I must train you into a nationally ranked player. Come play games with me." This farce finally ended when the minor anti-addiction lockout popped up on the screen. I rubbed my arm, which my mom had smacked several times with the rolling pin. Something felt off. When I opened my hand and looked, the tattoo had rubbed off. My sister hugged her wrinkled workbook tightly and looked at me with grievance in her eyes. Be good, Alicia. Give me your homework. I absolutely won't let you write this kind of stuff. George, don't make me slap you, my mom said coldly. I spoke as if I were making a very serious point. Mom, have you ever thought about how much psychological pressure a genius like me could bring to my little sister? My mom had it. What the hell are you talking about? Look on her face. Is there any? Of course there is. In a high-pressure environment, relaxed education is necessary. Otherwise, it's very easy for a child's mind to become twisted. My mom nodded thoughtfully and said, but Alicia doesn't want to play games. No problem. I'll take her to the beach. Really? My sister spun around me excitedly. Brother, you're so nice. I want to wear sandals. I looked at her with pity in my heart. I hoped she would still be able to smile later. Chapter 4. Orange City was a small coastal town. I rode my electric scooter, carrying my sister all the way with sparks practically flying behind us, and arrived at the beach a little after 9. My sister looked up at me, then she looked at the sea and asked, Brother, why aren't there any lights here? This area had not been developed yet, so it was pitch black. Beneath our feet was rough sand and gravel. Splash, splash, the seawater surged up again and again. Then I lit a white candle and said, Alicia, did you know? Lighting white candles by the sea is a mysterious ritual. I didn't know. In the flickering firelight, I revealed an unfathomable smile and continued. It's fine, you'll know very soon. I told my sister to close her eyes, press her hands together, and look up at the sky. Then, while she was distracted, I tossed a fake prop head by her feet. The seawater washed over her ankles. She felt something thin, wet, and slippery wrap around her toes. Alicia could not help opening one eye, and she came face to face with a hideous, terrifying ghost face. Ah! She screamed and ran away, scraping her knee when she fell. I picked up the prop head and threw it into the trash can. Alicia sniffled, stood beside the electric scooter, and shouted, Brother, hurry up and come over. There's something in the sea. I looked at her. Don't talk nonsense. Are you trying to scare your brother? I didn't see anything. Her little face was pale. I don't want to play here anymore. I want to go home. All right, all right. After we got home, my sister did not dare sleep with the lights off by herself. I asked with concern, if you're really scared, should I light a white candle on your nightstand? She waved her hands again and again. No, 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 no candles. After saying that, she burrowed under the blanket and curled up. A trembling little lump rose on the bed. I covered my mouth and desperately held back my laughter. Luckily, the high school entrance exam was coming up soon. I just wore a hat to press down my green hair, and no one really cared. During evening self-study, I lay on my desk, writing and drawing all over a sheet of blank paper. It was densely packed with all the dirty tricks I had prepared for my sister. After all, what if yesterday's little scene had not become her childhood trauma? After school, I found Willow, the study rep of our class, and asked her to go to the bookstore with me. Her eyes lit up. Really? What study materials are you buying? Can I copy yours and buy a few too? Realizing that she had misunderstood, I quickly waved my hands. No, 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 I'm not buying study materials. When we arrived at the bookstore, I looked up at the rows of colorful romance novels in front of me and asked, which of these have delinquent male leads? Willow helped me pick out a few. I held the stack in my arms, then picked out a textbook from another shelf and paid for everything together. After leaving the bookstore, I handed the textbook on top to Willow. Thanks, study rep. I've used this book before. It suits you pretty well. If you have any questions, you can ask me. She held the book and smiled as she thanked me. I found a pavilion near my home and tore out the entire second half of the books. Then I wrote new endings on paper and pasted them in. Give me bad endings for all of them. In this one, the male lead dyed his hair so many times that he went bald. In this one, the male lead smoked and drank so much that his teeth turned disgusting and yellow. In this one, the male lead went to prison. Without exception, every female lead broke up with the male lead. Sorry, little lovebirds. I gave the novels to my sister as gifts, and she happily hid them under her pillow. After a while, she came to me with a heavy expression and said, Brother, will you go bald in the future? I swept my hair back, revealing a hopelessly wicked smirk, and said, if I go bald, I'll dye my scalp green. She was greatly shocked, then asked, then do you smoke and drink? Of course not. I don't want to become ugly with a mouthful of yellow teeth. She fell into thought. Chapter 5. After I got into a top provincial high school, my parents had completely accepted my thunderous sense of style. My reputation had also spread far and wide through neighborhood gossip, with labels like, does getting better grades make people weirder? Something's wrong with his brain. And, his parents didn't raise him right, attached to me. I still went my own way. I sent my sister to learn martial arts, and she trained until she became genuinely skilled. Because of martial arts, she got hungry fast every day and ate a lot, so she shot up in height. Looking at her height of 172 centimeters, I was very satisfied. Good. At least she no longer looked as fragile as she had in my previous life. Of course, she also needed entertainment. Every week, I checked how many games she had played, what her win rate was, and reviewed her matches over and over again. After crying her way through it, she actually developed solid skills. Of course, the most important thing was material support. In the dream, my parents had controlled her allowance very strictly. They did not allow her to order takeout or drink bubble tea, let alone have fun with friends. Every day, she could only stay bored at home doing homework, eating plain, watery meals, and wearing nothing but her school uniform. Now, relying on the experience from my previous life, I started a side hustle online and gave her a huge allowance. I did not allow her to wear her school uniform, and I definitely did not allow her to do homework at home. She was only allowed to play games, watch horror movies, and listen to true crime stories about dismemberment cases. Whenever we had nothing to do, I took her around to try all kinds of snacks and good food. Sweet drinks and flavored beverages were never in short supply either. As my sister, her outfits naturally had to be trendy. Under her school uniform, she wore exaggerated graphic t-shirts. She paired high-top canvas shoes with all kinds of rings and bracelets, creating a look so overwhelming that even people afraid of streetwear would break out in panic. With me as the precedent, my parents were already mentally exhausted, so they could not really say anything about my sister. After I turned 18, I bought a motorcycle and started taking my sister to and from school. I did not ride slowly either. At first, she still had to clutch my clothes. After a while, she freed both hands and could even eat a bowl of noodles on the back seat. But I still felt it was not enough. After the college entrance exam ended, I begged Willow and a few other female friends to act with me. In the cafe, Alicia sat across from me, wearing wired earphones, her fingertips flying across the screen. "Brother, why did you call me here?" I pointed at Willow beside me and said, "Alicia, come on. This is your future sister-in-law. Say hello." "Hello, sister-in-law." Alicia nodded at Willow. After a few polite exchanges, I told Willow to go home first. My sister finished the last sip of her latte and asked, "Should we go back now?" I shook my head. "No rush. Waiter, bring her another one of the same." A few minutes later, another girl walked over and sat beside me. I introduced her. "This is Sophia. She's my girlfriend." "Alicia, say hello to your sister-in-law." Alicia looked at me as if her entire worldview had just been refreshed. Her face was full of disbelief. Her expression changed again and again before she finally forced out a stiff smile and shook Sophia's hand. "Hello, sister-in-law." After Sophia left, Alicia slammed the table and stood up. "Brother, do you know this is cheating?" I gestured for her to calm down. Sit down, sit down." Before long, a third girl sat beside me. "Hi, Alicia. I'm your brother's girlfriend." By the time the fifth and final girl left, Alicia's mood had gone from rage at the beginning to complete numbness. "You have 5 girlfriends." She held up 5 fingers. I nodded, crossed one leg over the other, and said, "The more lovers you have, the more impressive you look." Alicia fell silent. At first, she thought her brother was a scumbag. Now she felt this was no longer a question of character. This was a brain problem. Do they all know about each other? I shrugged and spread my hands. Some do, some don't. She lowered her head, rubbed her face hard a few times, and said, "Brother, this is wrong." Over the next period of time, I performed a grand, melodramatic train wreck of a romance for my sister. Dating was pretty much the same thing every time. I played the role of a cheating scumbag so convincingly that countless girls cried their hearts out because of me. "Are all of you insane?" My sister sighed, and right when she was about to throw up from helping me deal with all my romantic messes, she met the male lead. Chapter 6. A confession letter was shoved into my sister's hand. The pink letter paper reeked of cheap perfume. Alicia squinted and studied it for a long while before finally making out the words, "Don't leave after school," from handwriting that looked like it had been written by a dog's paw. Someone had asked her to go to the rooftop. How recent does a case have to be to count as new? Would the case from year, month, day be recent enough? The narration from a true crime show suddenly echoed in her ears. She crumpled the letter into a ball and threw it into the trash can. After school, she absolutely would not stay here for even one extra minute. At lunch, someone suddenly sat down across from her. Makoto held a tray of bland, watery food, propped his chin on one hand, and glared at her fiercely. "Why did you throw away the love letter I wrote you?" Alicia said in surprise. "That was a love letter. I thought someone had written me a curse note as a prank." "You didn't read it carefully?" Alicia shrugged. "I did. Your handwriting was just too hard to recognize." "Heh, it's fine. I can give you another chance." "Alicia, be my girlfriend." Alicia looked at Makoto. His dry, brittle hair dragged his originally good looks down by several points, and he wore his school uniform in a deliberately rebellious way. For a moment, many people looked over. If it had been the old Alicia, she probably would have blushed so hard that she would not have dared lift her head. But now, she had long since learned to treat other people's stares as air. She smiled. Your hair quality is terrible. I don't like people with hair that bad. Easy to go bald. You're actually rejecting me. Makoto frowned and asked in return. Do you know how popular I am? Don't want to know. A few people gathered around them, probably Makoto's lackeys. Someone came over with a cheeky smile, trying to pat Alicia on the shoulder. Come on, little girl, just say yes to Makoto. He'll definitely treat you well. Alicia frowned, stood up, dodged him, and shouted. Move. We'll move if Makoto tells us to. The group laughed and joked around. A food tray was slapped onto Makoto's face. The tray slid down, leaving a piece of green vegetable stuck to his cheek. My sister held a steaming bowl of soup in her hands. Whoever tried to stop her would get it poured on them. Chapter 7. So, you were sneaking around behind my sister just to apologize to her? Makoto slurped his noodles and nodded hard. Do I look like I believe that? Half an hour earlier, I had come to pick my sister up from school and saw someone quietly following her from behind. The moment I saw a punk, I was triggered. Without even thinking, I hit the throttle and rushed over. I swear, the front of my bike only lightly touched him. He immediately rolled around on the ground, crying out in pain, trying to fake an accident. I hit your leg, so why are you holding your stomach? I lifted my foot, about to stomp on his face, but my sister stopped me. Brother, don't hit him. Don't hit him. Makoto curled up on the ground, and the expression on his face did not seem fake. He was not smart enough to act that well. My sister squatted down and said thoughtfully, Makoto, did you eat breakfast? Makoto shook his head. What about yesterday? Did you eat yesterday? He shook his head. What about the day before yesterday? I ate a steamed bun. My sister looked up and said, Brother, he's just starving. Fine. I dragged the two of them to the beef noodle shop beside the school and spent a small fortune. Makoto ate with his head buried in the bowl, his cheeks puffed full. Alicia's brother, you're so handsome. My sister's hand paused midair as she was picking out cilantro, and a faint smile appeared in her eyes. Of course, my brother can do all kinds of things. He even knows fortune telling. He knew which class I would be assigned to. Really? George, can you tell my fortune too? Do I have the fate of an overpowered chosen one protagonist? I let out a cold snort. Sure, I'll tell your fortune. I pretended to calculate with my fingers a few times. Makoto could not wait to ask. What kind of fate do I have? A worthless one. Makoto, ? George, you really don't know how to say anything nice. I know how to say worse things. Try harassing my sister again and see what happens. Makoto did not say whether he dared or did not dare. He finished the last noodle in his bowl, got up, and ran away. Chapter 8. Brother. Love is supposed to be a one-on-one relationship. Have you made things clear with your girlfriends? I have. They're all my cousins now. What nonsense are you talking about? Alicia stabbed her chopsticks hard into her bowl and said in disbelief. They all agreed to that. Of course, you people are insane. Alicia covered her face in despair. Brother, if you don't handle this relationship mess properly, I absolutely will tell mom and dad. Also, aren't all of you in your 20s? Why are you still fooling around like this? I only smiled without saying anything. Brother, I'm serious. You're definitely going to get beaten to death by those girls' parents. Before that happens, repent properly. Great. My sister had actually realized that. Forget wanting to beat him to death. I wanted to pound Makoto into a bowl of beef noodles myself. All right, I'll definitely handle my own matters properly. The next morning, Alicia looked at the boy blocking her way and asked, Do you need something? Makoto held steamed buns and soy milk in his hands. Your brother treated me to beef noodles yesterday, so today I'm treating you to breakfast. She frowned and had not even had time to refuse. A girl ran over, hugged Makoto's arm, and smiled sweetly. Makoto, I haven't eaten yet. Can I have this? Afraid of a misunderstanding, Makoto quickly waved his hands and said, She's my cousin. The moment Alicia heard that word, she nearly got triggered. The girl pouted. Fine. If you say she's your cousin, then she's your cousin. Alicia was screaming and breaking down inside. With a cold expression, she pushed the breakfast away. I've already eaten. Give it to your cousin. Before she had taken 2 steps, someone grabbed her shoulder hard and turned her around. Makoto's angry face appeared in front of her. Alicia, are you looking down on me? Alicia slapped his hand away and said, Wow, you figured that out? You're so smart. Heh. Makoto let out a cold snort. Never look down on a poor young man. Alicia took a steamed bun from her pocket and smacked it onto his mouth. The most important thing for you right now is to fix that edgelord personality of yours. Never look down on a poor young man. At this rate, he would starve himself to death in 2 days. Don't waste food. Makoto wolfed down the steamed bun, then waved at Alicia. I won't give up. He really did not give up. After school, he grabbed Alicia's backpack strap, knelt down, and begged her to go somewhere with him. Are you crazy? Are you trying to get both of us caught by the dean and sent to detention? Makoto hugged Alicia's backpack in his arms and said, I don't care. Come with me once. Just this last time. After this, Makoto, will never appear in front of you again. Fine. You said that yourself. The closer they got to the beach, the more uneasy Alicia felt. A bad premonition crept up inside her. That feeling grew even stronger when she saw Makoto had arranged a circle of candles on the sand. Makoto was secretly pleased. White candles arranged into a heart, such a romantic scene would definitely move Alicia. Alicia's face grew paler and paler, and sweat gathered in her palms. Damn it, what exactly felt wrong? Makoto stepped into the heart-shaped circle of candles, and as if by magic, a bouquet of flowers appeared in his arms. He was just about to make his heartfelt confession. Suddenly, the street light flickered a few times, then it went out. Alicia's PTSD instantly kicked in. She turned around and bolted. By the time Makoto finished reciting his confession with his eyes closed and opened them again, everything in front of him was pitch black. He turned on his phone flashlight and looked. There was no one there. Alicia's palms were covered in sweat. She only felt that Makoto was truly terrifying beyond belief. He had even figured out her greatest weakness. When she looked back, Makoto was already chasing after her. Why are you running, Alicia? Why are you chasing me? If you didn't run, would I chase you? If you chase me, how could I not run? Chapter 9. Alicia ran all the way to the crowded entrance of the night market in one breath. Smelling the scent of barbecue drifting through the air, she finally felt much more at ease. Makoto bent over, supporting himself against a utility pole, and said speechlessly, How can you run? I know what you want to say. Alicia raised a finger to her lips and said, I don't like guys like you. Why? I can carry you in games and win every round. I can bring you delicious food every morning. I can drive you out to feel the sea breeze at midnight. Alicia interrupted him. At night? That's a land breeze. What? I already have all the things you mentioned. I don't need you to take me anywhere or do anything for me. Goodbye, Makoto. She walked away with light steps. My heart was deeply comforted. After hearing what my sister had said, I picked up a piece of fried noodle and stuffed it into my mouth. Great. Now I could finally relax. Unfortunately, fate rarely goes the way people want. Another night, I cooked an entire table of food and waited for my sister to come home from school. Sweet and sour fried eggs, braised pork ribs, spicy crawfish, and meatball soup with glass noodles. When the door opened, a tall, skinny boy beside my sister greeted me. Hi. His black hair made him look rather well-behaved. Without his usual slacker punk vibe, I actually failed to recognize him for a moment. Holy crap. Makoto. After dyeing his hair black, he actually looked so innocent. You still dare say hi to me? I took off my flip-flop and was about to smack him in the face with it. Brother, don't hit him. Don't hit him. He's the group partner my teacher assigned to me. Yeah, bro. George, I don't have any crooked thoughts anymore. I just want to study hard. You want to study hard? Huh. Fine, I'll teach you. I let out a sinister cackle. Makoto rubbed his arms, and his stomach started growling. Since things had come to this, we might as well eat first. My sister and I ate about the usual amount, but Makoto was exaggerated. He inhaled 3 big bowls of rice. Are you full? He smiled shyly. About 70% full. I lifted the rice cooker and tapped inside it with the rice paddle. There's nothing left. I was planning to save some for my parents. I frowned and thought for a moment before carefully asking, Is your family having financial trouble? After all, in my previous life, he was a man who only had $5. My sister held a cola and said, His family is pretty well off. They give him tens of thousands in living expenses every month. Then why is he living so poorly? I asked in confusion. Because he gives it all to other people. What does that mean? My sister cleared her throat and explained. So many people called Makoto boss for a reason. That whole group of lackeys he had taken in all got money from him. And so, his lackeys ate and drank well, while their boss tightened his belt and drank cold water. But now he's already been kicked out by his family. Makoto let out a cold snort. My dad actually remarried. He clearly promised Mom he would never marry another woman. I'll never take another cent from him again. Never look down on a poor young man. He did have some backbone. All right, edgelord, go wash the dishes. I tossed Makoto a pair of rubber gloves and a steel wool scrubber. After he finished washing the dishes, I started tutoring him. You don't even know this. Did you really spend over 10 years in school? Are you some kind of ultimate fucking idiot pig? I literally just explained it once. Is everything above your neck just decoration? Are you even human? You're not some paramecium that transformed into a person and started cosplaying as a human, are you? Chapter 10. At first, he got angry and looked like he wanted to throw down with me. But after seeming to think of something, he lowered his head again and filled the draft paper with a bunch of alien scribbles. I suspected he was cursing me. This kid was way too scheming. He could even endure this. If my sister saw it, would she think he was pitiful and start feeling sorry for him? Damn it. I had clearly been trying to provoke him into beating me up so I could go cry to my sister afterward. That way, my sister would cut off all contact with him. No, seriously, why aren't you talking back? Makoto swallowed and said, I'm afraid that if I make you angry, I won't be able to come to your house for meals anymore. I was speechless. So he was just a massive glutton. Knock, knock. My sister knocked on the door, poked her head in, and said, Brother, I'm going to the internet cafe for a bit. Go, go. I waved my hand. Makoto shouted. Wait for me, I want to go too. I pressed him back down. No, you don't. Besides, my sister was not going there to play games. Ever since I had set a daily quota for how many matches my sister had to practice, plus match reviews afterward, playing games had become like work to her. On top of that, after she got a little older, she started working as a paid game booster. Anything becomes boring once it turns into work. Every time she said she was going to the internet cafe, she was actually going there to watch online classes and do homework. Sigh, let her be. I was just that understanding. When I came back to myself, I realized Makoto had zoned out again. So I smacked him hard on the head. Right. Chapter 11. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, there were only 100 days left before the exam. The school held a gratitude assembly, and I attended as the guardian of both my sister and Makoto. Sitting on a chair in the sports field, I had argued hard and successfully pushed my parents out of the chance to attend. My sister's protest was invalid. As for Makoto, he was a stubborn mule. He refused to let his father come and shamelessly stood beside my sister instead. Students, look at your parents' hands. Have they become rough? The two of them happened to be holding one of my hands each. I smiled and said, Smell nice. I put on hand cream before I came. The two of them were speechless. Look at your parents' hair. Has it turned white? That is the weight of love settling over the years. They looked at my green hair, which looked exceptionally flowing under the sunlight, and still said nothing. Since I was afraid of going bald, I took very careful care of my hair every day. They have used half a lifetime of hard work in exchange for your youth. Please remember this kindness. Use your actions to warm them, to repay them. Do not let their white hair be exchanged only for regretful waiting. The two of them each hugged one of my shoulders, but after a long while, neither managed to squeeze out a single tear. After that came the part where students signed their names on the red wall. While they went to sign, I asked my sister for her meal card, turned around, and rushed to the cafeteria. After getting a huge tray of food, I saw a lonely figure in the corner. Martin was eating rice soaked in free soup. Over the past few years, I had only run into him occasionally. Most of our conversations happened through our phones. I pushed my tray over and asked, Why are you eating so little? He looked at me. Surprise flashed in his eyes, but it quickly dimmed again. My parents are getting divorced. They probably forgot to put money on my meal card again. If you have no food, go find Alicia, who's 2 grades above you. She's my sister. She knows about you. Brother George, can I go to your house for dinner? The nanny was fired, and I'm really hungry every night. I have New Year's money. I can pay you. I did not refuse. Sure. In that case, we might as well all go out to eat together. We found a restaurant. The 4 of us sat around a big round table, and my sister asked me, There are only 4 of us. Do we really need such a big private room? I tapped my finger against the table and said, We do. Before long, all 5 of my girlfriends had taken their seats. Everyone ate in silence. My sister, who knew the entire truth, was already showing a trace of despair. When we had eaten almost enough, I wiped my mouth and said to the 5 girls, Today, I came here to break up with all of you. Of course, this was also a scene I had arranged in advance. Scumbag. After a fierce argument broke out, the table was flipped over. The girls rushed up to scratch my face, only to be stopped by my sister and Makoto. I had told them beforehand to step on my sister and Makoto a few extra times. Martin stood off to the side, completely out of the loop, still shoveling food into his mouth. After it ended, the girls could not hold back their laughter at all. They held their stomachs and supported each other as they left. My sister thought they were crying. With her hair looking like a bird's nest, she sat with Makoto on the steps outside the restaurant, one staring up at the sky, the other staring down at the ground. I am absolutely never dating. I had just finished paying the restaurant for the damages and was feeling a little heartbroken. But the moment I heard my sister say that, I instantly felt it had all been worth it. Chapter 12. After my sister finished her exams and the results came out, I asked her what she wanted to do in the future. She said she did not know, but she wanted to see snowy mountains, see the northern lights, go hiking, and go out to sea. I said that sounded pretty good. She had already grown up. She was tough and confident, and I believed she could do anything well. When you get rich, don't forget to send money to your brother. That was the only reminder I gave her. Makoto did not get in. Of course he didn't. After slacking off for more than 10 years, it would have been strange if he had. He borrowed some money from me and went off to start a business. I went back to the same barbershop from more than 10 years ago and dyed back the green hair I had kept for so many years. After I had volunteered at the orphanage in my hometown for several years, Martin went abroad to study and left me a very long letter. Willow told me that she had become an executive at a big company and was making a lot of money. She asked if I wanted to go to the big city and fight for a career with her. I refused. After all, lying flat was far too comfortable. Late one night, after taking a walk by the bridge and chatting with her, I heard faint crying. It was a little creepy. I turned around and saw a girl sitting off to the side, hugging her knees and crying. I cautiously said, "Hi." The girl looked up. She was holding an admission letter in her hand, and her eyes were red and swollen. With my excellent memory, I still recognized her. She was the female lead. In that case, she had probably gotten into school but had no money to attend. In my previous life, it was precisely because she was short on money that she and Makoto had ended up together by some strange twist of fate. As for Makoto, he had returned to this old place, been stirred by memories, and then taken an interest in the female lead because she looked somewhat like my sister. But today, Makoto was not here. He was still buried in chaos because of the little company he had started. He had only called me that morning to complain. I went nearby and withdrew a stack of cash. Not too much, not too little, just enough for tuition. I wrapped it in a black plastic bag and placed it in the female lead's arms. "Stop crying. Don't go home either. Buy a ticket and go straight to school." After saying that, I counted out money for her ticket and meals as well, then stuffed it into her hand. One good deed a day. In the middle of this year, I fell while trying to rescue Big Orange from a tree. Big Orange was a fat cat I had raised. That fall broke my leg bone, and I had to be hospitalized for treatment. I felt a little melancholy. Had I already become an old man? When I opened my eyes after my afternoon nap, a huge crowd of people was gathered around my hospital bed. The male lead, the female lead, the lover who dies young, the villain, the random background character, they were all gathered in my hospital room. What? Were we filming a TV drama? My sister came over and poured me a glass of water. "Brother, drink less soda." Makoto placed his hand on my sister's shoulder and echoed, "Yeah, bro. Everyone's worried about you. Where do you think you're putting your hand?" I threw off the blanket and hopped on one foot toward Makoto. He twisted away like a startled little animal, and I nearly fell. Willow caught me just in time. "Martin, hold him down for me." For a moment, the room descended into complete chaos. In the end, it was the female lead, Anna, who pressed Makoto's head down and dragged him in front of me. "George, do you want to hit him?" I was a little surprised. Her face turned red as she explained, "I work part-time moving goods, so I'm really strong." I grabbed Makoto by the ear and shouted, "Don't mess with my sister." He exaggeratedly scrunched up his face. "Bro, I was wrong." My sister covered her mouth and secretly laughed. I let go and looked around the room. Forget it. At least it was a happy ending.